Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 2023 National Disaster Resilience Month webinar on the role of tidal observation in disaster risk reduction and mitigation. I will be your host for today's activity. My name is Jeffrey Agos Podala from the Geospatial Information System Management Branch of the National Mapping and Resource Information Authority. But before we officially start, just like any other program, it is but proper to start with a prayer.
A prayer on climate change. Loving God, we thank you for our planet Earth, which is our home. It has evolved over millions of years. It continues to be a source of life and a place that holds all our lives together. Today, though, our planet is under threat from pollution, climate change, and increasing carbon dioxide levels. As our planet heats up, the cycles of life are out of balance and under threat. We pray that our world political leaders will continue to make good decisions that will impact our future for the better. We pray for a world that will not be threatened by a changing climate that chokes our atmosphere. We pray for a world where the poorest and most vulnerable can live their lives fairly and with hope. We pray that this wonderful planet will be in a much better shape for future generations to come. We pray for a team effort, not just at global level, but also in our own local community and parish. And finally, help us all to be the difference. Help us to know that every small and tiny change in reducing our carbon footprint does in fact make a world of a difference. Amen.
Amen. So this is the third year na nag-organize po tayo ng ganitong klaseng webinar for the National Disaster Resilience Month. Pero alam nyo ba na pursuant to Executive Order 29 signed in 2017, July is celebrated yearly as National Disaster Resilience Month. So this event aims to highlight the importance of understanding disaster risks, strengthening disaster risk governance, investing in disaster risk reduction for resilience, enhancing preparedness for effective response, and recovering from the effects of hazards and disasters through effective risk management. So for 2023, ang napiling theme is Bidang Pilipino, Building a Stronger Filipino Well-being Towards Disaster Resilience. So as what I've said, this is the third year na nag-organize po tayo ng ganitong klaseng pagtitipon para kahit papaano naman po ay maging aware tayo about this kind of celebration or observance in order for us to be more resilient when it comes to disasters. Knowing, alam naman natin that the Philippines is prone to disasters, both natural and man-made. So the more na kailangan tayong maging aware, maging resilient para at least mapaghandaan natin itong mga ganitong klaseng pagkakataon. So the kaisa ng National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council at ng Office of Civil Defense ang National Mapping and Resource Information Authority para po makapag-create tayo ng ganitong classic awareness. So, to the uninformed, the National Mapping and Resource Information Authority is a government agency attached to the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. So to further know the background of Namria, we will be showing you an audio-visual presentation of its profile. Take it away.
Maps are essential tools to help people locate objects, features, and events, and navigate their way on the surface of the Earth. Maps enable us to discover, know, and analyze our environment. Maps provide information to be used for planning, decision-making, operations, and governance. More than 80% of the information needed in everyday life deal with location or geography of people, places, things, and events. The National Mapping and Resource Information Authority, or Namria, plays an important role in generating and managing maps and geospatial information. It is an agency of the Philippine government attached to the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, as the country's central mapping and geospatial information management agency. Namria serves the needs of the line services of DENR, other government offices, and the general public. Namria's mission is to provide quality topographic maps, nautical charts, and other geospatial products and services in a timely and coordinated manner. Namria envisions itself to be a center of excellence, building a geospatially empowered Philippines where government, businesses, and individuals make full use of geospatial information in making important decisions and conducting their daily activities. Namria has 4 core functions. Namria produces topographic and derivative maps on various scales, in paper or digital forms. These are used as basic tools and references by the government for infrastructure and development planning, disaster risk reduction and management, environmental protection, and research and development. They are also used by the private sector in investment planning and exploration, by the academic and science communities in research activities, and by the general public. Topographic maps are regularly updated using satellite images and aerial photographs, and from the conduct of field validation surveys. Small and medium-scale topographic maps of 1 to 250,000 and a 1 to 50,000 scale respectively generally cover large areas for macro planning. Large-scale topographic maps of 1 to 10,000 and 1 to 4,000 scale or larger cover smaller areas but are more accurate and show more detail. Namria likewise produced the nation's General Assembly during its 69th session, dated 26 February 2015, that recommends the adoption and active participation of member states in the definition of a Global Geodetic Reference Frame, or GGRF, for sustainable development. The program will upgrade the existing Philippine reference system of 1992 from a static and local system to a datum aligned with a GGRF that is in sync with real-world ground deformations and is managed and utilized by competent PGRS stakeholders. Namria conducts hydrographic and physical oceanographic surveys and produces nautical charts like berthing, harbor, approach, data for climate change studies. Charts and hydrographic data are important in complying with the provisions of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea relative to the country's maritime entitlements. Likewise, the nautical publications are required under the Safety of Life at Sea Convention under the International Maritime Organization. Namria is responsible for the survey and mapping of the country's terrestrial and maritime territories. It delineates the different maritime zones of the archipelago, including the exclusive economic zone and continental shelves. It spearheaded the successful defense in 2012 of the country's submission to the United Nations for an extended continental shelf in the Benham Rise region, now called Philippine Rise. It also provides technical support to various government agencies on matters pertaining to maritime boundary delimitation and law of the sea issues, as well as to the local government units in the delineation and delimitation of the 15-kilometer municipal water boundaries. Namria conducts nationwide environment and natural resource assessment and mapping of various thematic geospatial information such as land cover, coastal resources, inundation of coastal low-lying areas at various sea level rise scenarios, tenorial instruments, and upland or forest land population, among others. These fundamental data sets serve as vital inputs to policy formulation, physical and developmental planning, provision of social services, disaster risk reduction and management, and climate change mitigation and adaptation studies on various levels. In addition, the agency continues to provide information on classification of lands of the public domain, as well as technical assistance to DENR in the final mapping and preparation of draft House bills, fixing the final forest limits of the country, including validation of the general location of areas under the National Integrated Protected Area System, among other mapping requirements. Namria's geospatial information and management services include information system strategic planning, geospatial databasing, information and web system development, information and communications technology, resource and network management, geographic information systems or GIS project collaboration and technical assistance, GIS trainings, packaging of geospatial information products and services, stakeholder relations and partnership development, information, education, and communication and client services. Namria also plays active roles and even acts as lead in local and international programs in the area of geospatial information management and services relevant to disaster risk reduction and management and climate change adaptation. Namria spearheads the implementation of the National Spatial Data Infrastructure, or NSDI, which is designed to provide a mechanism for sharing of and access to geospatial information produced and maintained by the various stakeholders and custodians across the country. A major output of the NSDI is GeoPortal Philippines. This application system, managed by Namria, serves as a platform for online and open sharing of geospatial information. Namria also assists other government agencies and the general public in disaster mapping. Namria is one of the member agencies of the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC. The agency collaborates with other government agencies in the production of multi-hazard maps and information, education, and communication campaigns in various local government units. Namria also assists Congress in the crafting of priority bills on maritime zones, archipelagic sea lanes, land classification, comprehensive land use, and protected areas, among others. From its humble beginnings in 1987, Namria has come a long way and stands firm in accomplishing its mandated tasks and responsibilities to its clients and stakeholders and to the goals of DENR. This is the National Mapping and Resource Information Authority, an agency helping to build a geospatially empowered Philippines. Welcome to Namria.
Ayan. Welcome to Namria indeed. So, to officially start our lecture in today's webinar, uh, our first speaker will discuss the role of tidal observation and disaster preparedness. So, our resource speaker is the Chief of the Physical Oceanography Division of the Hydrography Branch, which, ang nabanggit nga sa ating audiovisual presentation, is one of the technical branches of the National Mapping and Resource Information Authority. So, to give us his lecture on the topic, here we go. I will be yielding the floor now to our boss, Mr. Dennis Arsenio B. Bringas. Take it away, Boss Dennis.
Thank you, Jeff. No. Uh, okay. So welcome everyone. I think we are also being viewed by Jeff. We are being broadcast sa YouTube and Facebook, I think.
YouTube po, tsaka Google Meet, sir.
Google Meet. Yeah, welcome. Hindi ko nakikita yun sa YouTube, no, sa Google Meet.
Oh.
We had around 71 no, na naka online sa Google. No? So welcome everyone. Actually, this is my second webinar. No, if you attended an earlier webinar on sea level rise due to climate change, so medyo link na rin itong tidal observation because of the theme ngayong year no ng BIA. So I will be discussing the role of tidal observation in disaster risk reduction and mitigation. No? Later on sa presentation, a colleague will present on a very important aspect ng pag-provide namin ng oceanographic information that would be on pH tides. Okay. Of course, as a government agency, and we are mandated to provide charts and other geospatial information that includes the physical oceanographic data. No? So there's a ay gumalaw din. Yep. Anyway. There's a this would be the outline of my presentation. No? So an overview of the POD or the Physical Oceanographic Division. It's a small division within Namria or within Hydrography Branch that is responsible to providing or conducting oceanographic surveys. So another one would be a brief overview on tides, on what are tides, why do we observe tides, and how do we observe tides with respect to Namria. So we'll provide you the classes of tides that we are maintaining in Namria, and we will talk. I will briefly talk on disaster risk reduction mitigation, which is the topic for today's webinar. So a few statistics from these disasters based from the Philippine Statistics Authority or the Office of the Civil Defense. No? So the role of the tidal observations that we are conducting. And I will talk on some of our strategic plans as the Physical Oceanographic Division. And we'll just point out the key takeaways of this seminar. Okay, so just like I said, we are a small division, but we are physically all over the country. So hindi lang po Apari to Hulu, but we are in Basco to Tawi-Tawi. So we are the Physical Oceanography Division, and I want to introduce you the functional and operational responsibility of the division. So the POD is responsible for the establishment and determination of a reliable vertical reference datum, primarily used in hydrographic surveys, nautical charting, or the topographic mapping. So ito yung basis or yung zero starting point whenever you look at the heights, mapa depth yan or mapa height. So we are also responsible for the publication of the annual tide and current tables. So our navigators or our ship, our survey vessels or other commercial vessels are using this tide and current table. So we publish this annually, annually. So we are also responsible for the generation, distribution, publication. Okay, no? Mula umpisa? Ganun? Sorry. ano ba yan? My fault. Jeff? Wala nagsabi? Hello? Naririnig na ako, Jeff?
Yes, sir. Apo, ano na rin po yung ano po ninyo, yung PowerPoint na set na po.
Naririnig ako kanina?
Yes.
I'm sorry, hindi ko no? Sorry, walang nagsabi. Anyway, rewind. So, this topic would be on the role of tidal observation. So, ito na yung nabanggit ko kanina, no? So, we are ito yung outline of presentation. My apologies, no? So, I'm talking right now about the functional and the operational responsibility of the POD, no? So, just like I said, siguro narinig ninyo, so we are responsible for the establishment or the maintenance of a vertical reference datum. Ito yung ginagamit sa hydrographic surveys or the charts and the topographic maps, no? So, sa POD nang gagaling yon. So we are also responsible for the publication of the annual tide and current tables. These are being used by our mariners yung gumagamit sa barko. Binibili nila sa Namria ito. No? So we are also responsible for the generation, distribution, publication, updating and archiving of the related physical oceanographic data available to scientists or researchers in the maritime or ocean sector. So we are the National Oceanographic Data Center. So ito yung designation ng International Oceanographic Commission. So isa tayo sa mga national data centers. Japan is the regional oceanographic data center. So supposed to be we are sharing our data sa regional centers, no? So nagbibigay naman tayo ng mga data natin. So we provide certification of data information on various physical oceanographic data requested by various clients. Ito yung mga gumagawa ng engineering, marine engineering structures, gumagawa ng pier. So they ask for certification of data like datums. As to the operational responsibility, so we operate and maintain the network of permanent tide stations throughout the country. So nabanggit ko kanina mula sa Basco hanggang Tawi-Tawi kami, no? Hindi lang mula Apari hanggang Hulong. So these are 24-hour operation ng pagko-collect ng sea level, no? So we have 60 of those, may map tayo mamaya. So we provide predictions of tides and tidal currents at various locations in the country. So hindi lang yung 60, we can also provide around 265 points where you want tide predictions, no? So we ensure the stability of tide gauges by establishing and maintaining what we call the tide gauge benchmarks or simply benchmark. to monitor any variation of tidal datum or a sea level rise or a mean sea level changes. No? So we periodically conduct tidal current and the newly and ito bago ang ginagawa namin kasi medyo it's a client driven function like wave observations, no? So at various points of the country. So as we establish secondary or subordinate stations for wider support of hydrographic surveys. So the subordinate stations needed usually for the in support of the hydrographic surveys being conducted by Namria. No? So in our tide stations, we measure sea surface temperature, density, and salinity just to optimize yung location ng area and also to provide additional physical oceanographic data. Okay, so sabi ko kanina, siguro may mga iba dyan na may idea naman ng tides, no? So, very simple lang ang ginawa kong definition nito. It's the periodic rise and fall of the water or the sea level due to the gravitational pull of the moon and the sun. So, ito yung graphics dito galing sa NOAA. This is galing sa NOAA yata. Yeah, NOAA. So, ito, kung napapansin nyo, the moon revolves around the earth. So, meron din orbit yung sun. So, if you notice, kung parallel yung sun, tingnan natin kung yung point. So, this is the sun. Kung parallel sa moon, there's a bulging effect ng water surface, no? Parang nag-add up yung gravitational pull nila. So, lumalaki usually yung ano ng tides, level ng tides. What we call the spring tides, no? So, kung right angles naman siya sa sun, and the moon and the sun, so nagpo-produce what we call the neap tides, no? So ibig sabihin mas maliit yung range kaysa sa spring tide. So during spring tides, usually mas malaki yung range ng tides, yung water tide. So napapansin all throughout yan. Okay? Okay. So for tides, we have at least five basic types no ng tides, no. So ito yung phase ng tides ng tabagin. So we have journal, semi-journal, mixed tides, mixed journal, or mixed semi-journal, no. So dito sa graphic dito sa ano to, nakita natin yung anong tsura, no. So basically ang journal ay isang high, isang low, no? So ito yung ano niya, ito yung curve kung tatawagin natin curve. So almost equal yung high or equal yung low, no? So sa ibang lugar kung napapansin nyo, may mga dalawang beses lang ang ano isang high, isang low, no? So for the Philippines, we are mainly mixed semi-journal. So ito yung type. So this is just a parang isang ano lang, mas detalye lang ito, mixed journal is actually a mixed semi-journal is actually a semi-journal type pero mas madalas nagkakaroon siya ng dalawang high, dalawang low, no? Mas madalas. So, ibig sabihin may times na nag-isa lang. So, for the Philippines, mainly mixed semi-journal. Ang journal lang usually nasa northwestern part ng coast ng Philippines. So that would be San Fernando up to Corimao. Siguro that's one time lang yung high and low. Okay? So why do we observe tides? Of course, ito yung traditional use ng tides, no, for safety of navigation because of those charts, no. It's a vital component of charting. So from those tides, we can publish tide and current predictions through our tide and current publication. So, ito yung a few of the applications lang, no? We use that in fisheries, in tourism or recreation. Usually, may mga resource na gusto nilang malaman yung mga kailan ba mag-high tide, kailan ang low tide sa lugar, no? Of course, yung coastal development or coastal engineering or yung mga infrastructure, nabanggit ko kanina yung mga pier, mga bagong pier na kino-construct or expansion ng pier, no? So they need this data. No? So of course, if you observe a long-term tides, if you are observing a long-term tide, so very important to scientific research or scientific studies, no? If you are into climate change or sea level rise, so you need historical data, no? So ito yung madalas na nire-request sa amin, and of course other applications pa, no? So how do we observe tides at least for Namria, no? So we can use actually a very old method, no? Using a tide staff, a simple tide staff. Dito sa right side, that's a tide staff. So it's a parang ruler lang, no? Everyone know how to use a ruler. So you just look at the intersection of the tide staff sa water level, then you read the tides. So that's simple. Pero may mga waves yan. That's why we employ what we call the automatic measurement, the tide gauge. So this is an automatic measuring device to measure ng height ng tide, no? So we have, for Namria, we have the analog or the old one, yung lumang technology, the analog chart, what we call dito sa chart recorder, analog, it's sa left side. Let me change my laser pointer. So we have a pressure type. So ito yung sensor niya ay nasa ilalim na ng tubig, no? So it uses the pressure ng water column to record the height of the tide. So meron siyang logger. So nilalag lang yung data na yon. So we have also the dito naman sa air surface sa sa air column. So we have what we call the radar type. So pulses are sent from the radar sensor up to the surface of the water. Then it measures that space. Then ino-convert niya into water level. Okay. So there's a fairly new technology. So although old na rin siya, pero what we call also the satellite altimetry. So it's a technique or tool to measure sea levels from space using satellite. So hindi na natin i-discuss masyado ito. So iyan lang yung iyan yung representation on how they measure the level of the ice. So maraming involved na parameters diyan. So usually this is very effective pag you're looking at a wider spectrum or wider space kung gusto mong study, no? So ito yung ginagamit ng mga scientists, no? Okay. So for Namria, we have three classes of tide stations, no? So what we call the primary, usually may mga concrete, no? The secondary, usually ito yung mga parang temporary rin in nature, but depending on our host, like the Philippine Ports Authority, hindi pwedeng magtayo ng concrete. So we establish a semi-temporary, semi-permanent na tide gauge. So ganito yung tsura niya, like the one in Siargao, which just uses a pool type na structure. Ito naka-enclosed sa cage, stainless steel in Dumaguete. In Port Irene, that's a concrete. This is a basic design ng tide station natin, no? So we have also a special one, the one established in Lubang. So offshore siya, ang tawagin offshore. So medyo mahirap i-construct ito kasi nasa around 20 meters from the shoreline yata ito eh. So ito yung dyan. This is what we call the offshore installation, no? So primary, usually yung mga more than 1 year observation ng station. Secondary, usually 1 month or more. Secondary. Subordinate, usually ito yung mga short term, very short term, like 15 days, 10 days. So hindi kaya ng 1 month. So usually ano na lang yan. But we can analyze, we can extract the needed data para makapag-predict sa lugar, no? Okay. So for the Philippines, yung 60 na banggit ko, we are all over the country from Basco to Tawi-Tawi nga. So we are all in all 60 yung permanent tide stations, no? So we have around 14 stations nasa Mindanao. Sa Luzon, it's around 29 stations. Sa Visayas, around 17, no? So yung nabanggit ko na yung classes ng tide stations, we are around 27 stations that are concrete type. We around 33 stations, yun yung portable. Okay? So hindi siya concrete, no? So for the type of tide gauges, banggit ko rin kanina, analog and digital. So mostly analog, 68% or 41 stations. So for the digital one, these are the pressure type or the radar type. So around 19, no, 32%. For the what we call the data transmission system, ito kasi yung may mga tinatawag na real time or near real time. So these are stations that sends data sa central office dito sa POD, no, Physical Geography Division, in real time. Usually every minute or every 10 minutes, depending on the capability of the instrument, no? So for the near real time, around 40 stations or 67% of the 60 stations. For the non-real time, konti na lang, no? 20 stations na lang, no? So we are aiming to have all these stations to be transmitting data near real time, no? So for the data collection, ito naman yung just in case masira isang instrumento, no? We have what we call the redundant observation. So there are 27 stations that have at least two sensors or two types of tide gauge, no? So meron tayo yung mga nag-iisa lang. So kung nasira siya, what we call the data gap. So wala siyang data talaga, wala siyang observation. Okay? So this is the station profile for Namria, around 60. So meron tayong tinatawag din na secondary stations. Ito yung more than a month. At one time na-observe siya more than a month, pero hindi na siya na dismantle na dahil wala na yung station. So we have around 27, no? So I would like to highlight now we have in Pag-asa, that's in the Calayan Island group in the West Philippine Sea. So we have two stations there that we observe around mga 1 year na yung nakuha nating data dyan. So meron din tayong prediction sa dalawang station na yan. So we are also in the West Philippine Sea, no? So for the subordinate, ito yung sinasabi ko in conjunction with the hydrographic surveys. So meron tayong sa ating archives, sa ating database, we have around 265 stations, no? These were conducted during the American time, yung 1950s. So meron tayong data po yan. So kung may mga clients tayo na gustong historical data, we have at least 265 subordinate tide stations, no? All throughout din yan. So meron na kakatabi yan. So kung may nangangailangan, so we can provide you all this data. So now we go to the main topic of this webinar, the disaster risk reduction or mitigation, no? Okay. Nakikita pa ba ako, Jeff? Jeff?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear po.
Okay. So, did you know, nabanggit ni Jeff kanina, ang Philippines Resilience Month is July, no? But did you know that the International Day for Disaster Risk Reduction is October 13 each year, no? So, ito yung dineclare ng UN, no? During one of their conventions, no? So, ito, October 13. So, July tayo, Resilience Month. Mas matagal tayo. International Day lang. So, yan, October 13. So Jeff, siguro itataon natin October siguro. Yung mga ganito, no? Next time. Okay? So, but we have a law, ito yung legal basis, ng what we call the Philippine Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Act of 2010, which provides a comprehensive, all-hazard, multi-sectoral, interagency, so lahatan na, holistic approach, community-based approach to disaster risk management or mitigation. No? So with that, na-establish yung, siguro madalas yung marinig ito, the National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council, so or the NRRMC, no? So meron din may mga ano din yan, may mga sub-council din sa provincial, sa LGU level, no? So meron din sila doon, no? The NDRRMC is the agency tasked with preparing for and responding to natural calamities, including strategies that consider climate change. So itong papasok na yung tidal observation or tidal data. And countries' infrastructure. So meron ng system na infrastructure ng NDRRMC. So hindi lang masyadong familiar. So anyway, so meron tayong asahan. Okay, so just a few terminologies ng DRRM. Galing ito sa United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction. Ito lang yung mga pinili ko. Marami pa yan. So disaster risk, the potential loss of life, sakit, injury or destroyed or damaged assets that could occur to a system, society, or community in a specific period of time determined probabilistically as a function of hazard, exposure, vulnerability, and capacity. So this disaster risk reduction is aimed, so ito na yung action, at preventing new and reducing existing disaster risk and managing residual risks, all of which contribute to strengthening resilience and therefore achievement of sustainable development. Now, disaster risk management is the application of the risk reduction policy. So, policy side. So, ito yung dahil ano ba ito? Yung law natin, no? To prevent new disaster risk, reduce existing disaster risk, manage residual risk, contributing to the strengthening of resilience and reduction of disaster loss. So based on this, no, so yung UN meron siyang sinasabing early warning system. So meron define yung early warning system. So this is an integrated system of hazard monitoring, forecasting, prediction, disaster risk assessment, communication, and preparedness activities, systems, and processes that enables individuals, communities, governments, businesses, and others to take timely action to reduce disaster in advance of hazardous events. So dito pala makikita natin the role of the tidal observation, no? To be to provide ko later on from this coming slides, no? So just a few statistics from the Office of the Civil Defense, no? So ito yung source. So ito yung nakita ko sa Philippine Statistics Authority, no? So this is a data from 2010 to 2019, no? So ito yung number of deaths, no? So 2010 to yung pinamataas diyan during the Yolanda yata ito, that hit Luzon in 2013. In the same year, nagkaroon din ng earthquake sa Bohol, no? So medyo maraming namatay doon. But ang nakikita natin doon parang bumababa, no, as the year dahil siguro doon sa DRRM management policies, so medyo bumababa. Sana magtuloy-tuloy, no? I think may mga pronouncement na zero casualty yung mga provincial, yung mga LGUs, no? Zero casualty. Sana gano'n na nga. In terms of pesos, no? So ito raw, 463 billion yung yung damages incurred due to this natural disasters, no? Ito galing din sa OCD ito, no? OCD. I heard na may mga OCD yata dito, no? So this is the statistics. These are statistics also from 2010 to 2019. So very recent, no? So ito, meron siyang share. So if you want to read more on this, nasa Philippine Statistics Authority, doon ko nakuha ito. No? Pero ang source nila ay Office of the Civil Defense. Okay? Now, we go to the role of the tidal observation. So ito is one of the typical tidal station namin sa Liloy. Hindi ko familiar. Sa Buanga del Norte. No? So this is in Mindanao. So ito yung mga, meron tayong, kaya sabi ko kanina, we are physically present all from Basco to Tawi-Tawi. So meron tayong tinatawag na tidal observers doon. So hinahire ng Namria yan. So kung may makante, pwedeng mag-apply yung kung sino man yung interesado. No? Sa ngayon, walang bakante. Anyway, so ito yung tidal observers. So ito yung ginagawa nila daily. So they conduct daily, they conduct physical observation. So, yun yung mga kine-check nila mga instrumento natin. Okay. So before we go to the to those identified coastal hazards, no, we have to define ano ba yung coastal hazard nito, tama? So from Wikipedia, no. So hindi na natin kailangan i-reinvent kasi yung definition. No? So coastal hazards are physical phenomena that expose a coastal area to the risk of property damage, loss of life, and environmental degradation. These hazards include rapid onset of hazards that last for a few minutes to severe days and encompass significant cyclones accompanied by high-speed winds, waves, and surges or tsunamis created by submarine or undersea earthquakes or landslides. So, nandyan yung mga magkukos ng coastal hazards, no? Of course, and another thing sa NOAA, NOAA defines coastal hazards can also include slow onset hazard that develop over months or years and include beach erosion or shoreline retreat, sea level rise. Ito na pumapasok ng sea level. So nabanggit ko kanina, so yung data natin ay yung iba long term na yan. So these are very critical dito sa mga studies nito, no? Sea level rise or the climate change. So ano ito yung mga so ito lang yung nabanggit sa coastal hazard. And there's a one hindi naman nating masabing coastal hazard because this hazard is usually affects urban areas, no. Ito yung tinatawag na high tide flooding, no. So sa Philippines marami na naka-experience yung high tide flooding. Hindi na tayo masasabi pang strictly coastal because usually nasa urban na ano yan na nakikita natin yung high tide flooding, no. So mababanggit ito mamaya later on when we introduce you to a mobile application, a tool sa mga ganito, no, the PH ties, no. So number one, the storm surge. So ito yung storm surge. Okay? So ano ba yung storm surge, no? So storm surges are abnormal increase in sea level caused by strong winds and slow atmospheric pressure during tropical cyclones or typhoons, no? Or extratropical storms. Storm surges can cause severe flooding, damage to infrastructure, property, and loss of lives. So this is an image from the internet, no? This is the super typhoon Yolanda. So maraming namatay, alam naman natin maraming damages. So anong magiging role, posibleng role ng tidal observation, no? So tidal observation can help to monitor and forecast storm surges and provide early warning and evacuation information to affected populations. So ginawa ito doon during Yolanda, no? So kung napansin niyo may mga talagang napakatakas talaga siya. So extraordinary yung yung nangyari doon. Okay? Okay. So for Namria, we actually monitored yung typhoon, no? Ng Yolanda, no? So this is a monitoring tide station in Giwan. Let me Giwan ito, in Giwan. So right almost directly ng path ng typhoon Yolanda o Haiyan, no? So ito yung na-monitor namin sa tide station. So ito yung kung nakikita natin to yung pointer. this is how it looks sa aming monitoring, no? So there's really a surge, napakalaking surge nung that time, no? So these are very important information para sa ating mga other government agencies like the Pag-asa. So kailangan nila yung data nito. So in fact, marami nang humingi niyan. The academe,
Mukha yatang naghang si Sir Denny, sir. May problema ba yung internet sa location dyan sa HB? Anyone? Hello? So hintayin lang natin sila makabalik. It seems na nagkaroon ng issue yung internet namin sa Hydrography Branch. So sorry for the inconvenience. So wait lang po natin sila saglit.
Oh. Oh.
Ayan, pasensya na po, nagkaroon po ng technical difficulties ang aming internet connection po, particularly po sa amin sa office sa Hydrography Branch. As you can see, ang Namria po is nahati into two offices. Ang main office po ay nandito sa loob ng Fort Bonifacio at yung Hydrography Branch po na kung saan naka-assign po ang ating mga resource persons ay sa matatagpuan po sa Manila. and nireport po nila na na-down po ang kanilang internet. So, break po muna tayo ng around 5 minutes and let's hope po na maayos po nila ang kanilang internet within that time. So, break po muna tayo ng 5 minutes, everyone. Pasensya na po ulit. Hi, Sir Dennis. Welcome back. Sir, nakamute ka po. Welcome back, HB. Sir, nakamute ka po. Sir Dennis, nakamute ka po.
Nakikita na, Jeff?
Yes po. Welcome back po.
Sorry about that. So, nandito tayo sa unang hazard, no? The storm surge, no? So, hindi pa ba sila? So, nabanggit ko to kanina, no? And the role of tidal observation can help to monitor and forecast storm surges and provide early warning and evacuation information to affected population. Unfortunately, talagang super typhoon yung Yolanda. So, marami pa rin, sa kasamaang palad, marami pa rin nasawi doon sa lugar. No? So, just like I was saying na dito sa tide station natin sa Giwan, na monitor actually natin yung surge na yon, no? So, this is what it looks like sa aming monitoring, no, sa aming tide station. So, ito yung surge. Ito yung surge. You notice, malaki yung surge. Dito yung G1 station, almost directly. Actually, ito yung first landfall ng Typhoon Yolanda, no? So, G1. So, meron tayong station doon. So, nag-hold naman yung tide station natin doon. So, hindi siya nasira. Unlike in Tacloban, na na-overwhelm siya ng waves. Yung taas ng tides, no? Na-overwhelm siya at around 7:10 a.m., no? So, ibig sabihin nasira. So, merong surge na na-measure namin is around 0.6 o 0.7, almost 1 meter. Ano? So, ito yung ano lang to, sa in an hour lang to. So, nawala yung tide station natin, nasira yung mga instrumento doon, yung mga electronics niya, no? So, nasira. So, unfortunately, wala na tayo nakuhang data after that. So, yun ang nangyari sa Tacloban, no? Okay. So, other typhoon na monitor natin sa ating mga real-time tide stations, no? The one that happened in October 2015. Ito yung Typhoon Lando. So, Baler. So, ito naman, directly nasa path din ng Typhoon Lando, no? So, ito yung naging itsura ng monitoring natin. So, nandyan yung surge din. So, in fact, nagmamanifest na siya ng bandang October 17, no? I think Typhoon Lando made landfall at around on October 18, no? Around yung madaling araw din yata ito. So ito yung tsura, no, ng ating mga tide stations, no? Ganyan ang tsura ng isang surge. So these are very crucial doon sa ano ng pag-asa, no? So, sa mga announcements nila, no? Okay? So this one in sometime in 2011, close to our home here in Manila. So ito yung Manila during Typhoon Pedring, no? So storm surge. So I downloaded a video from internet. So ito yung nakita ko yung mga comments na nagdedebate sila kung storm surge ba yan o tsunami, no? So ito yung nangyari doon. Just I share you if you video, no? Sandali lang video. So this one in Roas Boulevard. So ito yung onset ng Typhoon Pedring. So maraming nagdedebate dyan kung tsunami ba yan o surge. So this is a surge, a typical example ng surge. No? So nawala na yung Roas Boulevard, puro tubig na yan. And buong two lanes, kaya 4 lanes yan, kabilaan. So yan, na-overwhelm siya ng surge from Manila Bay. So yan yung nangyari noong September 11. Okay? So gaya din ng monitoring namin, so yan ang itsura ng isang storm surge. Okay? So with that, no, meron kaming tinatawag na Memorandum of Understanding with Pag-asa o the Philippine Atmospheric Geophysical and Astronomical Services, no? So nagkaroon kami ng memorandum of understanding on the provision of sea level data to mitigate coastal hazards due to storm surge. So nagkaroon ng Namria ang sariling tinatawag na SOP or the Standard Operating Procedure for a provision of the sea level, no? So real time ito. So yung SOP na yon will provide pag-asa real-time data. Okay? So ang ginagawa namin dito sa Namria, we activate what we call the sea level hazard monitoring team, no? Activated na yan, may schedule na yung mga personnel dito sa uh, Physical Oceanography Division. Meron kanya-kanyang naka-assign na yung mga typhoon na darating. So meron naman listahan ng pag-asa niyan. So meron kaming kopya. So with the activation of the SLHMT, they provide the process, the data, and send to pag-asa every 3 hours. So, every 3 hours yan. So, kinakailangan nandito mag-duty yung mga tao natin. So, nag-duty sila. No? So, they send every 3 hours ng data. So, titingnan muna nila, i-quality control ng konti, i-reduce into a certain datum na kailangan ng pag-asa, no? So, ginagawa ng pag-asa naman dito, they adjust the models. May mga model naman silang ginagawa, no? So, they adjust their models using a real-time data from us, no? So, nagagamit nila yon. So, then after the event, typhoon, we submit reports, no? So, ito lang yung few reports na ginawa namin. This is a 2020 Typhoon Ulysses. Ito yung mga reports natin na ginagawa dito sa Namria. So we submit this report sa administrator, no? So Typhoon Odette in December 2021, so na-monitor din natin 'yan. So we conduct this monitoring activities, no, during typhoons. Lalo na kung mag-landfall. So we are in close coordination with Pag-asa, yung mga personnel nila doon. So meron din sila nag-duty kasi yun kung magla-landfall o hindi. Okay. Number 2 coastal hazard is the tsunami. So what are tsunamis, no? Tsunamis are giant waves, so malaki, generated by underwater earthquakes. So merong geologic component ito, no? Earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, or landslides, no? So tsunamis can travel at high speeds across the ocean and inundate coastal areas with devastating impacts. So this one is a Chile earthquake noong 2010, no? Chile is nasa kabilang side ng Pacific, no? Napakalayo. But we detected a anomaly or what we call a small tsunami siguro ito. Hindi naman siya yung devastating, hindi naman siya ano. So ganito din yung itsura ng ating tide stations in Legazpi, Real, and Tandag, no? Ito yung facing the Pacific, no? So na-detect din ng mga tide stations na dito. So ito, importante sa PBOX. Okay? So ano yung role naman ito ng tidal observation, no? So ito, tidal observation can help to detect and measure tsunamis. Ayaw naman natin yung malalakas na mangyari sa Pilipinas, no? Small tsunami lang siguro. Tsunamis and provide timely alerts to coastal communities. So very short ang window actually nito. So very crucial, very critical na yung stations natin, tide gauges natin ay ma-detect kagad yung ano yan. So kagaya nito, these are small tsunami lang. It doesn't require a evacuation alert yata ng PBOX at that time, no? So ito the Chile earthquake, no? 2010, no? Okay? So just recently in 20
Hi everyone. So, medyo nagkakaroon ng issue ang internet natin dun sa isang office namin sa San Nicolas, Manila. So, pasensya na po, pero wait lang po natin ulit sila makabalik. So, in 5 minutes po ulit. Makakaraos din po tayo. Wait lang po. Tayo lang po natin makabalik, Sir Dennis.
Hello? Ba yan? Sorry.
Hi, Sir Dennis.
Sorry about that. And again, and again, and again. I don't know, may nangyayari sa amin. Okay, dito ako nagtapos, no? Bago ako nawala, no? Sa tsunami, no? Sa Chile, with a magnitude of 8.8, no? Noong 2010. So ito, na-detect natin a small tsunami. So ito, tidal observation can help to detect and measure tsunamis and provide timely alerts to coastal communities, no? So napakabilis, nagbalit lang yung time scale ng tsunami, no? So mahirap talagang mahirap talagang evacuate. So kailangan in-depth monitoring ito, no? Okay? So this one also another Chile earthquake na naman noong 2015. The magnitude 8.3. So ito, Chile is nasa kabilang dulo ng Pacific, no? So nandito tayo sa Western Pacific, no? So na-detect din natin, two of our tide stations detected actually the change of the sea level doon sa Baler and Virac, no? So yan, ito that time hiningi ng PBOX yung data natin dito, no? So I don't know kung of course sa mga model din nila gagamitin yon, no? Okay? So ito yung nangyayari sa aming monitoring dito sa Namria. Okay. So during the big Japan earthquake in 2011, so ito rin yung nangyari sa mga tide stations natin. So hanggang Mati, so, ibig sabihin mula sa north hanggang sa south, na-detect natin yung small tsunami. So hindi siya yung devastating tsunami na ano natin na visualize natin. So may mga maliliit lang siyang mga oscillations, no? So ito one from San Vicente, Baler, Dirac, Legazpi, D1 na naman to, Davao City, ano? So yung mga small waves na lang yon. So ito yung nangyayari. So this data, this tidal data are very important sa mga government agencies just like PBOX, no? Okay. So sa PBOX naman, we have also an MOU or the Memorandum of Understanding on the co-management and operation of sea level stations. So meron din silang established na mga tinatawag nilang tsunami monitoring stations, no? We co-manage this. Nag-exchange din kami ng information with them. We train them on how to process and analyze mga sea level data, no? So meron kaming tinatawag na co-management, no? So meron din kaming in-establish na same with the Pag-asa. We establish an SOP on the provision of real time. So we also send them data, ganun din in real time. Pero ano naman to, sabi naman nila is tsunami yan, mabilis talaga yan. So mga binibigay namin dito yung far source na mga events, no? Just like the Chile earthquake. So after the fact na binibigay namin yung data sa kanila, no? So but still we also activate the sea level height monitoring team namin kung magkakaroon man ng gano'n. Okay. Now we go to the other coastal hazard, which is the sea level rise. So ito yung sea level rise is the gradual. So konti-konti lang ng increase ng sea level of the ocean, no? So ito yung probably due to climate change. So ito yung long-term shifts in temperatures and weather patterns, no? From the United Nations. So ito yung possible nangyayari, no? Ocean thermal expansion, melting of the ice glaciers, or the El Nino, La Nina phenomenon. So ito yung mga climate change variations na nangyayari, no? Due to climate change, no? Ito yung global warming. If you're familiar, kung naririnig nyo na yung mga terms nito, ito yon. So those could affect the rise in sea level, no? So other non-climatic factors, ito yung tinatawag nating land subsidence due to man-made or anthropogenic activities. Ito yung extraction ng water sa ground, no? So bumababa yung water table, subside yung ground sa taas niya, no? So yun yung subsidence. So again, bakit kailangan na naman ng sea level? Sabi nga ng gloss, sea level is one of the most useful oceanographic variables or parameters used for wide variety of scientific, economic, and social purposes, no? Very critical pa rin ang sea level dito sa studies nito, no? Climate change, no? Sea level data is vital for research into sea level change and ocean circulation according to the gloss. So ito yung findings ngayon. Sabi ng NASA, global sea level is rising at about 3.4 millimeters per year. So, paano nag-arrive dito? Dahil sa sea level data or the tidal data. Dahil dyan. So for us, we observe what we call the sea level trends, no? So mula nung nabuhay ang isang tide station, may database na kami, may record na kami yan. So we also monitor those changes, no, to our sea level trends, no? So just like Manila, so meron tayong pwedeng tatlong periods ng ating data. 1901 up to 1922 or 1947 to 1922. So ito lang namin naman to. Ginawa lang namin to na parang periods, no? Dinivide lang namin ng periods yung Manila, no? From ito 1965, usually ito yung start ng industrialization ng Manila, no? 1965. So pag sama-samahin natin yung data na yan, magkakaroon tayo ng iba't ibang rate of increase, no? So meron tayong makuhang 8.4 millimeters per year, 13.2 or 14.4. So way above the global average. So times 3, times 4, times 4 the global average, no? But other stations like Legazpi, Cebu, Davao, so malalapit sila sa global average, no? Especially Davao. Legazpi medyo medyo ano din siya, hindi pangkaraniwan because of probably yung volcanic activity, yung Mayon, no? So, medyo naka-apekto siguro ng sea level. We don't know. So, pero ang lumalabas sa ating records is from 1947 to 2022, it's around 6.0 millimeters a year yung rate ng increase. So, tumataas din siya. No? Okay, Cebu is, pwede ba natin sabihin ng stable siya dahil 1.2 millimeters per year? We don't know. So, kailangan ng mga other parameters or other considerations kung ano yung ibig sabihin ng rate of increase niya. Okay? So other stations, meron tayo Puerto Princesa, Hulu, Port Irene. So meron tayong data to provide our researchers sa mga sea level rise, no? So ito lang yung summary. So we have parang in general sa Pilipinas we have rising sea level, no? Sa iba't ibang lugar, no? So we don't know if how would we define alarming trend or ano lang siya, hindi siya alarming. So ito, we have around 13 na yung long term, 20 years above na tide station, na tidal data, meron tayo. So we have a very, sabi natin infant pa yan, but 1 to 16 years na nag-operate yung mga iba't ibang stations natin. Okay? So other relevant research projects namin na ginawa para sa sea level, no? We have the coastal sea level rise with UP Department of Geodetic Engineering, no? So ito yung nagkaroon kami ng collaborative project. We provide data on sea level data on 25 stations. We also provided GNSS data on those tide stations. So actually ang ano niya to is ang objective niya is to compute or estimate the rate of sea level rise and trend on coastal areas where tide gauges are unavailable. Okay? Or the land subsidence of area. So ito yan. Okay, so with that collaborative project, nakapag-publish yung project ng around 5 research papers, no? So ito. So if you want to look at these details ng mga research papers nito, ito yon. 5, no? Okay? So of course, meron din kaming ginawang project sometime in 2013, I think, in Namria, no? So what we call the mapping and assessment of low-lying areas vulnerable to sea level rise. So ano naman ito? We map the several scenarios ng rise ng sea level. Ito yung mga rise ng sea level, possible scenario, no? Rise of 0.5 meter, 1 meter, 2 meters, 3 meters, or 4.5 meters. So ito yung mga scenario makikita natin. Okay? So now we go to coastal erosion. Medyo ito naman ay mga studies din na ginawa, no? Coastal erosion is the gradual loss of land along shoreline due to natural or human-induced factors, no? It can threaten the stability and sustainability of coastal ecosystem, infrastructure, and settlement. So again, the role of tidal observation, it can help to assess and monitor coastal erosion, provide information for coastal planning and management. Again, nandiyan na naman tayo, tidal observation. For example, the DNR, through Namria tidal data or imagery na galing siguro sa atin, they were able to map and evaluate coastal erosion accretion trends in the Philippines. So mayroon silang actually research na nasa ResearchGate, no? Ito yung link on an area doon sa Ibajay, Aklan coastline. So ito yung nangyayari doon. So sila yung nag-field work nito, no? So this is the area. So these are samples or ng coastal erosion or shoreline retreat kung tawagin, no? Or another shoreline retreat. Okay? So that is for the coastal hazards, no? So 4 lang. So okay. So medyo malapit na tayo sa no. So ano naman yung mga plano, strategic plans ng opisina, no? So meron kaming tawag na enhancement ocean observation and infrastructure development. So ito yung mga implementing mechanisms, no? To expand data parameters to include data, meteorological data. So, atmospheric pressure, wind direction, humidity, and others. So, ito hindi naman yung kinukuha natin yung ano ng role ng pag-asa. We will augment. So, parang ang tawag nito, parang force multiplier yung gagawin natin. We have 60, remember we have 60 tide stations, no? Dadagdagan lang namin yung mga sensors niyan, meteorological sensors. Hopefully, no? Then, Bagasa will get the data. Sila yung gagamit noon. So, in coordination with Bagasa, nabanggit na namin sa kanila to and they were amenable to the idea, no? To the project. No? So, sa kanila naman yon. So, we provide lang namin yung yung infrastructure and the tool, no? Yung mga tide stations natin. Platform. We will provide the platform. No? So, improve real-time data transmission system. So, ang experience kasi ng Namria dito, pag malakas yung bagyo, brownout sa lugar, walang transmission kasi down ang power or worse, down ang satellite communication, yung antenna, cell site, down because of the typhoon. So, we are looking at a satellite communication option. So, medyo mahal ito. So, we are looking at a parang in use. Parang kung kailan mo lang gagamitin. I don't know kung may nagpo-provide ng service na ba ganun, no? Satellite communication, of course, hindi siya continuous ang connection namin. So, yun ang pangaplano. So, of course, nabanggit ko kanina, we are designated by the Regional Oceanographic Data Center as the National Oceanographic Data Center. So, hindi siya na-fulfill. So, we are trying to strengthen yung function na yun, no? As a center. So, we are trying to implement the nodes or the National Oceanographic Data Exchange Service. Ito yung web-based approach nung pagbibigay ng oceanographic data, no? Pagbibigay and to receive data, no? So we have what we call the PH Tides. This is a mobile application. So nabanggit ko kanina, a colleague of ours will be discussing the detail ng PH Tides nito, no? So in fact, nagawa na yung isang component ng strategic plan nito. So PH Tides, it's fully operational na yan o implemented na yan. So one of our colleagues here will discuss more on this. So this is a sort of introductory na rin yung application na yan. So meron na tayo po niyan. Okay? So ito yung infrastructure design ng enhancement, no? So additional sensors, so the same pa rin yung mga loggers natin. So kakaroon lang ng meteorological sensors na to be provided to Pag-asa. So kumbaga direct ang Pag-asa ang nito. So ito yung hybrid data transmission system. So nabanggit ko, dual siya, using the internet and the satellite. So ito yung naman natin, the data management system niya, no, infrastructure. And of course, the web display or the hosting. And of course, the mobile application. So nauna na yung mobile application kung tutusin dito, no? Envision natin. And also, of course, we started this year a web. We are designing a web web server or web page na although may web page ang Namria, but this we will be providing the actual tides or the predicted tides using the web application, no? So ito, makikita na rin siya ng ganito, like metadata on the station. So may mga additional information na makukuha dito sa web display nito, no? So ito, we are trying to start this application already. Okay? Now, nabanggit ko yung So yung page size, no? So ito yung tsura. So ma-discuss mamaya ng isang colleague, no? This one. So ito na yon. Available na sa mobile yan, sa mga cellphone, Android man o iPhone. Okay? So other strategic plans, of course, we are going into offshore oceanographic survey. We are trying to develop the capability going offshore actually. So by using oceanographic buoys. So para lang malagyan natin ng data in between those lands, no? So magkakaroon tayo ng sort of observation using buoys. So we are looking at unmanned survey vehicles. na ang payload ay mga iba't ibang oceanographic sensors. So we're looking at that. So we are also, dahil technical provider lang tayo ng data, we are also looking at it to develop our own research and development capabilities through hydrodynamic modeling. No? Hydrodynamic na ito yung parang nagsisimulate na yung mga ocean circulation, yung mga ganun. Because we have lots of data. So we are trying to take that opportunity na pwede rin namin gamitin, no? By developing our own research and development capabilities. No? So of course, yung vertical land motion, ito kasi long term din kasi ito. So we are planning to start now dahil kailan pa natin start yung monitor yan, yung vertical land motion. So we're trying to establish this one. In fact, we started with around nine stations na tinatawag natin co-located stations. So meron na tayong mga GNS receivers doon sa lugar na yun. So meron na tayong data actually doon. Okay, in closing, these projects, the one I mentioned in the strategic plans and activities are geared towards enhancement of the capacity in responding to the mutation. So, hindi na lang pang charting, hindi lang pang safety of navigation ng tidal data, nag-mutate na rin siya into other data applications and the long-term effects of climate change through development and modernization of oceanographic survey infrastructure. With that, I end my presentation. Bigyan ko kayo ng konting key takeaways dito sa webinar. No? Okay, number one, tidal observation is vital component of disaster risk reduction and mitigation in coastal areas. So, nakita naman natin, no? Tidal observation can also support other related fields such as climate change, adaptation, coastal zone management, marine resource conservation, and sustainable development. Tidal observation can provide data and information for hazard identification, risk assessment, early warning systems, emergency response, recovery planning, and resilience building. Okay? With that, with this quote from Max Mayfield, an American meteorologist, no, retired na yata ito. Preparation through education is less costly than learning through tragedy. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir Dennis, for that very informative discussion despite of the fact na sinusubok tayo ng challenges ng internet connectivity dito sa office and yet naitawid pa rin natin ito successfully. So, kung meron tayong questions sa presentation ni Sir Dennis, may I suggest to maghintay muna tayo manandali at patapusin natin yung second presentation natin sa ating lecture ngayong araw na ito. So we will be devoting at least 15 minutes time after the presentation ng ating pong next speaker. Our next speaker po is the Deputy Chief of the Maritime Affairs Division, also from the Hydrography Branch of the National Mapping and Resource Information Authority. She will be discussing yung pong binanggit kanina ni Sir Dennis na bagong mobile app on Tides, which is ang pangalan niya is PH Tides. So without much ado, may I present to you a round of applause, virtual applause to Lieutenant May Ann L. Javier. Take it away, Miss May.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Hold on. Let me share my screen. Ayan, nakikita ba?
Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good morning once again. I am May Ann Javier of the Maritime Affairs Division, and let me present to you one of our most recent innovations, the PH Tides mobile application. So for this presentation, we will discuss briefly the objectives of the PH Tides mobile application the case of Hagonoy, Bulacan, and the pictures of the mobile application. Okay, just a brief background there. Earlier this March, we launched this mobile application called the PH Tides, which aims to improve the accessibility of the public to tidal information, specifically yung predicted tides that are provided by our agency. It also aims to increase the interest of people in using reliable tidal information through this platform that also offers easier visualization of tidal data. So in the past, predictions from Namria are only available through the annual publication of the tide and current table, which mostly caters to the maritime industry. But we also do publish the daily tide prediction on the Namria website. However, kung kailangan nating plan ng activities far ahead, baka kailangan din natin mag-consult dun sa tide and current table kasi limited nga lang yung data na ipinapakita dun sa ating website. So in the efforts to expand the client sectors that we serve, we are offering this mobile application, which is basically yung tide and current table natin that is more portable and convenient to use. So we envision that through this mobile application, more people will be able to utilize the data that we provide. All right. So before going through the pictures of the mobile application, let me share to you the case of Agonoy. So during the project implementation of the page tides, we actually consulted several stakeholders from the maritime industry, with them being the primary users of the tide and current table. And also, we had an opportunity to conduct focus group discussions and consultations with Hagonoy, one of the coastal municipalities in the province of Bulacan. When we went there, we asked the participants about the different applications where they use tidal information. And some of them mentioned fishing, transportation and navigation, academic and research, coastal zone management, and disaster risk management. So in connection with disasters, so we found out that high tide flooding has been a primary concern of the residents as it has deeply affected their daily lives. Pero ano nga ba yung high tide flooding? So I'd like you to watch this short clip from NOAA that explains what high tide flooding is and kung bakit ba siya nagiging primary concern ng Hagonoy, Bulacan. Stop sharing.
Flooding. It's often associated with heavy rains and severe storms. But with rising sea levels, flooding in some coastal communities is now occurring during high tides and sunny days. It's called high tide flooding, and it causes road closures, overwhelmed storm drains, and damage to sidewalks and roads. When coastal storms coincide with high tides, the flooding can worsen dramatically. Since 1990, high tide flooding has nearly tripled along U.S. coastlines due to sea level rise caused by climate change and sinking land. The land can move due to underlying geology or human impacts. Sea level rise is expected to further increase the frequency and severity of high tide flooding. So what are people doing about it? Communities are installing costly water pumps to clear the streets of floodwaters. Some people are building on stilts or moving to higher ground. We can't push down the rising seas, but we can plan for the future and adapt to the new normal.
All right. So based dun sa video na napanood natin, di ba, one of the main reasons why we experience high tide flooding is yung climate change. So dahil umiinit na masyado dito sa mundo natin, natutunaw na yung mga glaciers. And yung effect nun, tumataas na yung mean sea level natin. So kapag high tide, so imbis na dati hanggang tuhod lang yung na-experience nating baha. So maaring in the future baka hanggang bewang na kasi nagki-creep na yung tubig dun sa mga low-lying areas. All right. Let's go back to the slide. So flood is experienced even without heavy rains due to high tide. And ramdam na talaga yung high tide flooding sa Hagonoy. Nung nandun kami, shinare nila na yung mga meetings nila sa sanggunian na postpone, yung mga delivery sa kanilang market din naapektuhan kasi nga nagkakaroon ng road closures, kailangan nila mag-reroute. And then yung mga classes na sususpinde dahil din sa high tide flooding. And so it is very important for the residents of Hagonoy to know the times and heights of tides so they can plan their day-to-day activities well and prepare for the risk brought about by the flooding. So during our discussions, we also found out that their primary source of tidal information or the predicted tides is the calendar. So kung familiar kayo dun sa kalendaryo na yan na pinamimigay ng iba't ibang corporation bago mag-New Year, and also, sometimes they rely on the social media pages of their local government executives for information regarding the tide. Most of them actually are not aware that our agency provides predicted tides. So when we introduced the concept of the Page Tides mobile application, they were really interested to see the output and they are actually looking forward to use it. So ito yung in-introduce namin ng mga pictures sa kanila. So merong location and date picker, merong display of high and low tide of the day, meron din siyang graphical display of the hourly heights. And for offline capability, so nilagyan namin siya ng downloadable PDF of hourly heights, high and low waters, and yung astronomical data. And during the course of our discussion, no, ito yung feedback na na-receive namin sa kanila. So, they asked us to put user guide. So, meron ng manual na yun. Doon mismo sa app kapag dinownload nyo kung paano siya gagamitin. So, in-encourage din nila na sana magkaroon ng weather prediction from Pag-asa. So, gusto nila makipag-collaborate kami sa iba't ibang government agencies. Especially, itong mga data din na to sa weather prediction, pwede rin gamitin sa disaster resilience. And then they also wanted to include the sea conditions, sunrise and sunset. So yung sunrise and sunset, nag-incorporate na namin. However, yung sea conditions siguro for future improvements. Then they also suggested yung map-based station selection. And then to put more, to add more locations. They also want us to include the real-time information or real-time tidal data. And then, ito, yung conversion of units parang mas ma-appreciate ng fishermen kasi mas sanay sila na sa na pit yung ginagamit. And then, so isa din sa mga suggestions is yung IEC campaigns niya. So, importante sa amin yung mga feedback na to and we really wanted more people to benefit from the initiative. And so, we would like to encourage you, especially yung mga hindi pa po naka-download, to have a look at the application. Aside from those mentioned a while ago, it can also be used in other applications, such as tourism and port operations. And just like in Hagonoy, we want to capacitate especially our coastal communities in strengthening disaster resilience by providing this tool that may aid in assessing the risk and in planning our strategies in terms of disaster risk management and mitigation. So in that note, para din sa mga magda-download ng aming mobile application, we will appreciate if you will provide feedback as this will help us in improving the applicator to your needs. And before I end this presentation, and para mas ma-appreciate niyo yung page tides, I'd like you to watch this promotional video. All right. So, actually available na siya sa mga sa App Store tsaka sa Play Store. And if you want to download, I'll just share to you the QR codes. Ayan. So, hopefully po, i-download niyo siya and sana marami pong mga tao yung mag-benefit dito sa mobile application na to. All right. That ends my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Miss May,
Thank you, Jeff.
for that informative discussion on our PH Tides mobile app. So ano pa hinihintay nyo? Download nyo na siya. Available na siya in Play Store and App Store. So either Android or iOS o iPhone, pwede na po natin siyang ma-download at magamit din siya eventually. Sige. So we are now on the open forum or question and answer portion of our webinar. So should you have questions, clarifications na gustong i-brought up, now is the time. Sige, sabi ni Donnie, sabi ni Engineer Donnie, he already downloaded the app. So thank you. Thank you, Sir
Thank
Donnie.
you.
Sige. Yes, Mr. Marion Camban. Marion, do you have question, Marion? Wala po. Sige, tignan natin sa may YouTube naman. So, sabi ni sabi ni Niam, I'll download the app later. So, sige po. Please do. Malaking bagay po ito. Sige po. Question from Michael Hernandez. Good morning, ma'am, sir. Pag magre-request po ba ng tidal data, may bayad po ba? If may bayad, magkano po? Sir Dennis?
Depende. If you are a commercial company, usually ang policy is may bayad. But it's a very minimal. So, it's yung tidal data for a 1 month data is 300 pesos lang yata. But if you are a government or researcher, libre yun. Or just may mga process kaming may mga hiningi lang kaming data sa inyo, libre yon. Sa mga komersyo, unfortunately or fortunately, may bayad pero very minimal naman, 300 per month na hourly data yon. So depending din sa hiningi nila, iba-ibang rate sa pag tidal datum, iba rin ganun. Pero very minimal. Ang mahal lang diyan is pag prediction. Pag prediction hourly, usually medyo mahal. But we provide government agencies, local LGUs, basta sumulat lang kay administrator. Libre naman yan.
Yeah,
Did that
thank you,
answer
Sir
question ni Mr. Hernandez?
Sige po. Another question po. So maraming nagpe-pledge or nagko-commit na i-download nila yung app. Sige po. Marami pong salamat. A question po. Sabi ni Sir Leo Bihildo Navasca, dinownload na daw niya yung app. Pero predetermined lang po ba ang location sa apps?
Opo, pero 60 na po yan, 60 tide stations. So, dadamihan po yan kung yung kanina banggit ko, 265. Actually, we are looking at that old data, no? So, pwede pong madagdagan pa yan. Pero, at the start, 60 po na available na yung data niyan. I don't know kung hindi pa covered yung area na interesado kayo, then we can look at our archives. Pwede rin naman arrange yun na kung kailangan nyo. Pero for the meantime, 60 plus another siguro ipili tayo dun 265, baka naman mag-crash yung titignan natin yung capability ng apps. So we will be improving that in the future para mas marami. Thank you.
Okay po. Thank you, Sir Dennis. Kino-confirm lang po ni Sir Raul Agustin, anong area daw po ba ang nakakasakop ng high tides ng Hagonoy? Manila Harbor daw po ba?
Opo, sa ngayon nagre-refer tayo sa Manila South Harbor ba yun? South Harbor. But kung meron yung sa tide table, meron din tayong nabotas. So more or less magkapareho po 'yan. Ang kung high tide, siguro minutes lang ang difference. Hindi naman siguro magkabaliktad 'yan, no? Sa South Harbor ay high tide, sa may Hagonoy is low tide. Hindi na po siya pwedeng mangyari 'yan, no? So they are located in the same coastline. So more or less they are the same. Siguro sa time lang po ang konti lang, baka minutes lang po 'yan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Meron lang po nagko-confirm, tinatanong niya kung para saan daw po yung mga nabanggit daw po ninyo ng Memorandum of Agreements. And what extent daw po yung MOA na nabanggit? Is it between to LGU and Namria? Para lang daw maklarify.
Yung MOA po na nabanggit ko kanina is between Pag-asa and Namria. Okay? The provision of a real-time data, no? So yun lang po yun. Sa mga iba't ibang agencies naman, anytime naman pwedeng kumuha ng data, lalo na pag LGUs, no? So I don't think that needs a memorandum of understanding or agreement. So ang Pag-asa po is real time po kasi yan ang pinoprovide namin. So ibig sabihin, habang nangyayari yung event, yung bagyo, nagpro-provide kami ng actual data. So yun po yung meet nung MOA na yun. Sa PBOX naman, yung co-management, ongoing ko yan. Actually, balak namin i-expand. Dati kasi yung co-management namin tinatawag with PBOX, parang lang, to look at their data, analyze them, bigyan namin sa kanila quality control. But we trained them already na pwedeng sila na yung mag-quality control for their use. No? Pero nandyan pa rin yung MOA, tuloy-tuloy pa rin po yun hanggat babaguhin, dadagdagan lang ng stations. But for Pag-asa, I think hanggat kailangan ng Pag-asa ng real-time data, we will move on with the MOU. So kung may special request ng LGU like to provide also real-time data, we can also do the same, no? Pero pag sa ngayon, pag nag-request naman ng LGU, wala naman basta sumudat ng administrator.
Thank you, Sir Dennis. Tanong ni Sir Bryle San Agustin, nagpe-predict daw po ba ang Namria ng storm surge ba ito? Storm surge height, yun.
Hindi po, Pag-asa po may mandate. Pag-asa po may mandate niyan kasi they provide warning sa public. So, pino-provide po lang natin ay other information na kailangan ng Pag-asa to be more accurate doon sa kanilang mga predictions. Sa mga warnings, sa mga kasi ano ang height niya, kasi may mga other parameters po na tinitingnan ng Pag-asa like wind direction, ano na ba yung atmospheric pressure, yung mga ganon. So hindi po namin mapro-provide yon. Yung actual sea level data lang po ang pino-provide namin in real time.
Thank you, sir.
Hindi po namin ginagawa yung surge prediction.
Apo. Additional question po from Sir Michael Hernandez. May tidal data po ba kayo ng buong KIG or West Philippine Sea?
So yung pinakita ko po kanina, Pag-asa Island and Lawak. Unfortunately, we tried dito sa may bandang baba, pero hindi gumana yata yung tide gauge na dala-dala doon. So walang nakuha. So ang may actual data tayo is Lawak and Pag-asa. So if you want a continuous data, meron tayong sa may Balintang and Coron, El Nido facing the West Philippine Sea, meron po tayo dyan. That's why yung isang strategic plan po natin ay yung oceanographic buoy. Yun po ang pwedeng paggamitan natin to conduct oceanographic observation doon sa mga individual islands sa KIG or Philippines.
Thank you, sir. From Sir Max Quijano, yun po bang tide stations po natin may iba pa bang data na nagagather? Like central pressure ng typhoon, etc. Kung hindi, capable po ba ito mag-upgrade or ma-retrofit for other gauges?
Yes. So, thank you, Mr. Quijano, no? May doon sa strategic plan natin, we will try to include other meteorological data, no? Like sabi mong pressure, atmospheric pressure, humidity perhaps, wind direction, wind speed, lalagyan yan. So far, ang sabi naman ng Pag-asa, because we coordinate with them, kaya naman ng stations na yun, lalo na yung mga concrete stations natin, no? So kaya naman i-provide yon later on. But it's in the strategic plan. So right now, other data na pwede nating kunin ay yung sea surface temperature, salinity, and density. So meron tayo nun. But other meteorological information, wala pa po tayo nun. So kumbaga naka-embed pa doon sa sea level yung mga signals na kailangan doon sa meteorological information.
Thank you, sir. From Sir Joel Tangunan, yung app po ba natin can be used offline? If not, is it easy to use with internet data only instead of using internet Wi-Fi connection? Na sinigurahan ni Sir Niam, same question daw po, pwede daw po ba siya offline?
Mayan, baka gusto kong sumali.
Opo, sir. So for the offline capability, Jeff, ngayon hindi pa kasi nila pwedeng magamit yung app offline. But in lieu of that, pwede nilang i-download yung PDF file through the applications. Yun. And in terms of data kasi, depende yun sa location kung malakas yung signal or not.
I see. So for the time being daw po,
let me include, no? Actually, kinonsider namin yan, no? Paano yung mga fisherman na nangailangan yan, no? So ang gagawin lang nila is to download yung PDF. PDF file is provided, yung isang page yan, 3 months actually yun na prediction. So yung graph niya is parang ano lang siya, is a graphic representation of the PDF format. So parang ganun lang yon. So sabi ni si Leon, kung walang connection, i-download lang nila yung PDF. Hindi na sila kailangang bumili ng 480 pesos na book, yung physical, yung hard copy. So pwede nilang i-download yon. So libre yon. May tanong yata si Jeff dito.
Yes po. Ang tanong nga po ni Sir Jeffrey Aguilion, libre daw po ba niyang makukuha ang data sa PH Tides? Or magkakaroon din ba ito ng subscription fee in the future?
Wala. There's no plan to impose a subscription fee ng apps, no? So libre yan. Part of the service ng Namria, no, sa public. Libre yan. And towards the open data policy ng government, no? So may open data policy kasi yan. So doon na tayo nag-move, doon. So yung mga activities nito, yung mga tools, yung mga mechanisms nito ay geared towards the open data policy ng gobyerno. So walang plano to provide subscription fee.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ito po, tanong naman po ni Engineer Donnie Mancera. So far daw po, ang laban daw po ng app is predicted tides. Gaano daw po kalaki yung difference between predicted tides and actual tide heights? And do you plan to include this in the app in the future?
We plan to include that in the future. Anong app? Okay. So ang masasabi ko lang, we every data, every raw data, ina-analyze namin yan, no? So we compare to the predicted. So for the 60 tide stations, ang average standard deviations sa predicted at saka observed is around 20 centimeters. No? 20 centimeters. So average yun. So sa lahat ng 60 tide stations natin, if we do the analysis, 20 ang standard deviation. Meaning, 20 cm lang ang difference ng observation at saka predicted. No? So ang pinakamababa dyan, kung matagal na yung station, bumababa pa yan ng below 10 cm. So kung long term, mas accurate na siya. So, yun yung trend, no? So, around 20, we can assure na 20. Yun yung tinatawag natin pag astronomical condition, ideal astronomical condition. So, wala dyan yung mga bagyo, wala yung meteorological condition. So, kasi ang prediction naman, it's based on astronomical condition. So, yun, 20 cm, Donnie. Doon sa pag-include sa future, doon sa metadata, pwede na later on ilalagay natin sa metadata yung accuracy ng isang tide station. So pwede naman ilagay sa metadata niya, no? So lahat ng specs ng instrumento, yung sensitivity ng mga sensors, pwede natin ilagay doon. So additional info sa mga gustong gumamit doon, no? They can, pwede ba sa application nila yung kanyang sensitivity, like 1 mm sensitivity, yon ilalagay natin sa metadata ng station.
Thank you, sir.
Tama ba, no, Donnie? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sir, pinatatanong ni Sir Ping Lopez, will projects tulad daw po ng Cavite-Bataan Coastal Expressway and Manila Bay Reclamation affect the sea level rise in Manila Bay?
Well, in the analysis side, no, we try to look at the several tidal components doon sa Manila Bay, no. Hindi naman nagbabago yung tinatawag nating mga forcing yan. Hindi nagbabago, sir. Yun lang yung structure, yung mga footing siguro, I don't know if that would affect yung but the circulation or the tides doon sa area so far, hindi naman siya nagbabago based on our analysis ng mga tidal components yung tawagin, no. So hindi pa naman po siya very alarming. So I doubt na mababago yung sea level. Yung pa rin yung basic reason pa rin nung pagbabago ng sea level niya is the subsidence. Yun pa rin yun. So baka yung bridge baka mag-add up to the weight nung surface dun sa taas ng surface. Baka mag-add to it, it will just aggravate yung subsidence dun sa lugar. So pwedeng mga-apekto on that manner. Pwedeng mga-apekto yung sea level.
Thank you, sir. Tanong po ulit ni Sir Max Quijano. So we will be, we will be down to our last 3 questions po, ha? So, tanong po ulit ni Sir Max Quijano, ano pong mga current challenges natin, if any, sa paglalagay ng mga tide stations sa mga ports po natin? Or mas effective daw po ba ang tide gauges kung ito ay nasa offshore na facility kumpara sa pier?
Okay. So, ang pag-establish kasi ng tide station, marami tayong consideration, no? So, we must have the infrastructure available na right away. So, wala kaming enough budget for construction ng parang platform, like, for example, pier. So, wala na tayo doon. So, we usually talk with PPA or local LGUs na nag-operate ng pier, no? So, yun yung challenge doon. Pag hindi kami pinayagan, wala kaming choice na hindi tayo maglalagay doon kasi nakakasira ng operation ng port. So, yun yung challenge doon. For the offshore naman, consider natin yan yung security ng instrument, no? So, pag-maintain. So, ang nag-differentiate kasi sa amin sa mga ibang nagta-tide observation, we hire local tide observers, no? They visit the stations daily. So kung offshore man yan, mukhang logistically improbable, hindi practical, na every day, twice a day, pupunta yung tide observer doon sa offshore para mag-measure ng actual tides, no? So yun yung hindi natin pwedeng gawin yon because of that reason. Hindi siya practical for our tide observers. So ang mangyari lang is doon siya sa pier. So we usually seek permission from the authorities, no? Yung PPA usually ang marami. So far, okay naman yung reception nila. So we adhere to what the requirement is. So usually, semento pwede. Kung pwedeng semento, kung hindi pwede, yung structure lang na standalone or pool type kung tawagin. Para hindi masyadong nakakapekto sa operation ng So yun yung challenge nun. Kung hindi ka payagan, na tayong magagawa. Sa kanila yun eh. So we look for other sites. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. From Sir Philbert Garcia, yung mga tide stations daw po ba natin ay equipped with alarm system to notify nearby residents about a potential surge, or interconnected din po ba daw ito sa mga local DRRMOs for monitoring purposes?
No. Hindi siya equipped with alarm system. Pero may mga system na tide gauges na pwedeng ganon. So, pwede mong i-set actually kung ano yung threshold ng pagtaas, no. Pwede naman gawin 'yon. But we don't do that. Usually, pag minomonitor natin yan, may graph naman kami, yung mga real time. I'm speaking of the real time. So, doon pa lang sensitive yung instrumento, makikita mo yung paggalaw nung tubig doon. So, medyo ma-alarm ka yan. So, ang ano lang yan is visual, no? So, but for the automatic alarm system niya, hindi pa namin ginagawa doon, no? So, but we can do that with few of our, hindi siya lahat, hindi lang 60. So, meron doon. So, may sistema nandun. Minomonitor naman namin dito paggalaw, like the tsunami, medyo hindi na normal yung curve. So, then titignan na natin yung ano doon. But may mga system na gano'n, pwedeng mag-alarm. Pero sa atin, hindi activated yung gano'n. So, sa question na naka-link sa DRMO, hindi pa. So, actually, ang pinupunta ng DRMO usually yung Pag-asa eh. So, ang link lang natin is we provide data sa Pag-asa sa DRMO. So, ganun yung flow ng information. So, hindi kami pwedeng magbigay diretso sa DRMO unless na we have a sort of a agreement na pwedeng i-link sila o pwede kaming mag-provide directly. Usually, ang nag-provide naman yan kasi whole government approach yung mga ganyan. So, Pag-asa or yung council, NRRMDC, yun yung nagpo-provide.
Thank you, Sir Dennis. Actually, itong last na, I guess ito na yung last natin na questions or request. Parehas sila halos eh. Ito came from Ma'am Sheila Buenaventura. Is it possible daw po na ma-invite daw po ba, ma-invite kayo maging speaker po ng si Ma'am Sheila Buenaventura po. Pwede daw kayo ma-invite to be a speaker sa kanilang DRRM seminar sa ano po ito? Schools Division Office po ito ng Malolos. Ano po? Tama? DepEd SDO ng Malolos po in the future. Eh, yan po yung kay Ma'am Sheila. Tapos yung isa naman po kay Sir, ano ba to? Dalawa silang
Nagtatapos up
si Sir Morris Jan Auxilios. Pwede daw po ba kayo ma-invite ang Namria sa risk assessment ng LGU? Specifically po sa mga coastal LGUs.
Well, if they think na may makuha sila sa information na kaya ko, why not? It's a privilege, no? To share. Nakikita ko 35 years of experience sa physical oceanography. Yun ay share ko. So, naka-thumbs up sila may Lord na yan. Nag-approve na sila. So, okay lang po. Okay lang po yun. Inform lang tayo in advance. Thank you.
Yan, subject matter expert yan talaga si Sir Dennis when it comes to physical oceanography talaga. So we can, the whole of Namria can vouch for that. Siguro, pag mga ganyang klase pong request, you may write Namria a letter na lang po. You might consider writing our administrator po requesting Sir Dennis po to be a speaker. Hindi naman po yan maniningil ng mahal eh. Basta wag niya lang din po siya gugutuhin. Opo, walang bayad yan. Service na lang. Opo. Sige po. So, maraming salamat Sir Dennis, Miss May, sa inyo pong presentation at pagsagot po sa mga questions po natin ngayong umaga pong ito. Ipopost po namin ngayon ang ating pong kanina pang hinihintay na attendance and evaluation form. So, our colleague here, si Sir Jeff Aguilion, ayan, na-post niya na. So, paki-access na lang po yan, paki-fill up so that yun po yung magiging basehan po natin for our certificate of attendance. Yan. So, sige po, aabutin. So, on behalf of our administrator, Undersecretary Peter N. Tiangco, PhD, CESO1, and the rest of the officials and employees of Namria, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you for attending and bearing with us dun sa mga challenges kanina during the presentation. Alam naman
May tanong
natin,
po yata si John Paul Villarico.
sino sir? Si JP, may pahabol na tanong.
Villarico.
Oo. Saan ka, JP? May tanong pa ba?
Wala,
Sir,
pinapindot
wala
pa.
na yata. Oo, sir, wala na. Nagpapasalamat na sila. Yan. Jeff, yung link daw is hindi mabuksan. Okay. So, okay na. So, nabubuksan na yung link. Nabubuksan na po yung link. Ayaw daw gumana. Ha?
Okay naman na sa akin, Jeff.
Ayan.
Buksan
So,
ko. Oo.
Oo.
Tapos, Jeff, i-remind ko lang, pwede mag-remind, na sana yung mga magda-download ng application, mag-provide po ng feedback para ma-improve po namin siya lalo. Thank you.
So, okay na daw. Ayan. So, nag-confirm na si Sir Leo, si Charlotte, and si Meg. Okay na daw. So, okay na daw yung link ng attendance and evaluation form. So, we will be accepting responses from the said link hanggang 9 o'clock po in the morning tomorrow. So, after that po, na hindi na po tayo tatanggap ng responses, yan po ang magiging basahan, yan po ang magiging basis natin for the processing and distribution of our certificate of attendance. So, processing and distribution of the said certificates will be 10 working days after this webinar. So, medyo maging patient po tayo, lalo na po umabot po kayo, kung lahat po kayo makakapagbigay nito, umabot po kayo ng 200 participants activity. So, with that, ulitin ko po, I am taking this opportunity to thank all of you and those who attended and participated, especially during the Q&A part of the webinar. Maraming salamat po and hope to see you again in future webinars po of Namria. With that, maraming salamat po. Thank you, Sir Dennis. Thank you, Miss May. Can I request
Thank you.
tawag dito, picture? Group photo, please. Paki-open na lang po yung camera. Jeff, take the lead. Sige. Hindi ako makita. Sandali lang po ha, may inaayos lang si Jeff para makapag-picture taking na rin po tayo.
Okay na, Jeff?
Sige, paki-open na lang po yung camera po ninyo. Nasisilaw ako, Nat.
Sa 100 na participants nito, mga ilang shot mo yan.
Ayan na.
Thank you, Jeff.
Sir, wala pa. Wait. Pa-open po ulit ng camera, Sir Dennis, kasi kami naman ang nawala ng internet. Sige po, start
Meron,
na, Chef.
meron ka naman. Meron ka naman
Pa-open
eh.
po ulit ng camera. Sorry po, pa-open po ulit ng camera. Ha?
Okay.
Sige po, marami pong salamat. Naka-picture ka na, Jeff? Sige po. Thank you. Salamat po.